Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and yes, I had to do this video standing up because again, we're in the process of moving. I don't really have a lot of space at the moment. My office is full of boxes, so I didn't even have room to sit down on the couch. But something that I needed to address because my inboxes are being flooded with it, my fan page wall, my private Facebook wall, everybody's wanting to know about this data suggesting that animal protein, or high amounts of animal protein, not only causes cancer at a higher rate, but the sensational news headline is that it is as bad as smoking 20 cigarettes a day. All right, we need to step back and look at this a little rationally. You guys know that I am anti-meat. I would love it if all of you became vegetarians tomorrow. Nothing would make me happier, but I'm not willing to use intellectual dishonesty and data like this to try to do it. Now, when we see epidemiological data like this, which is what this is epidemiological data, you cannot, in nutrition, you cannot use epidemiology to prove causation. Remember, correlation versus causation. Correlation means two things tend to go hand in hand. An example of correlational data, we know that households that have fewer appliances in the kitchen have higher rates of teen pregnancy. That is a proven statistical fact, undisputed. But we know that the lack of kitchen appliances doesn't cause teenage girls to get pregnant. So correlation does not equal causation. The same thing here. Is it possible that the animal protein in large amounts may be contributing to cancer? Yes, it's possible. But we do not have direct causation in this evidence and the data that's being presented in all these news stories. This is sensationalism. There are a lot of other possible answers here. And yeah, it is possible, and it means that when we see something like that in epidemiology, that means that we need to go do a lot of further studies to find out what's causing this. We don't just assume that. That's not scientific to just say, well, this is clearly the cause. In fact, that is very bad science if that's the way you're doing it. It's ridiculous. And I can give you some examples right here. How about the fact that people who eat a large amount of animal proteins are displacing other foods in their diet with it? Because if you're eating a lot of animal protein and animal source calories, you're probably eating less fruits and vegetables. We know that increased dietary fiber not only reduces things like diabetes, it reduces things like colon cancer in a very, very measurable amount. So that's one type of cancer right there that we've got another one to look at. If you're not getting lots of fruits and vegetables, you could be deficient in various antioxidants, phytonutrients, all sorts of things that we know your body needs to help fight off cancer. So it could be a case of it's not the protein causing it. It could be a case of it is lower fiber, lower phytonutrient, lower antioxidant intake. In short, vitamins and minerals coming from plants themselves. The lack of those could be the cause itself. Or it could be that people who have a genetic predisposition to much higher cancer rates crave meat more so than other people. And therefore they just eat more meat because they crave it, and there's some genetic overlap causing a food craving with the cancer. So again, it doesn't mean that the meat's causing it. Now, and I'm not saying the meat isn't causing it, because it very well could be. We've got epidemiology there, but you can't be intellectually honest and draw those type of conclusions off of correlational data like this. However, I think it is significant enough that it means this warrants further study. We need to study this further. This is important for us to put resources in, but I wouldn't tell someone that because of this data, you need to go become a vegan or a vegetarian right now. Now, if you want to become a vegan or a vegetarian right now, that's great. I fully support your choice, but don't use a sensational news story like this as your driving motive behind it. And I will say that by that same token, that as I've told you guys, and most sports nutritionists agree with this, who work with top-level athletes, most of you eat a lot more protein than you already need. You guys could cut your animal source protein back, replace it with more plants, and your performance would not suffer. It would be just as good. Your training results would be just as good. So if you are concerned about it at all for health reasons, then cut it back to a more reasonable amount. That might be a more sane approach rather than us taking something like this correlational data and just running with it to the farthest extreme. I think that this means that we need to do further studies. This sort of data is suggestive of a lot of things. We need to research this further and find out what's going on. But we don't need to fly off the handle and draw sensational conclusions from it. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Mount Bicephus. I'll give you guys a tricep shot too, since I'm standing.